Well, I didn't have my camera in my hand as I did this morning, but this morning I opened the window because it's been so humid after a week's worth of constant rain that I thought I'd open the window and have a bit of a blow through in the kitchen, and the window fell off. It literally just came off its hinges and dropped out into the garden and smashed. So I've been investigating what's happened, and I did know that one corner of the window was quite rotted. But what's actually happened, I think, is the steel hinges have got wet and have seized up because it hasn't been opened for a year or more. And because the hinges were seized, it pulled the hinge screws out of the wet timber because it's been raining and raining and raining. And now I'm faced with not only broken glass, but also a frame that is badly rotted. And I've got no skills in this area. I've never done any kind of joinery work. But I'm going to attempt to fix it. It seems that one part of the frame is repairable and the other part isn't. But I've got another window here with a similar rail that I might be able to, and it's longer, so I might be able to take that out and put it into there and rebuild this window frame. But I'm going to leave it to dry out, and I'm going to have a chat with a friend of mine who is my wood guru. Then we'll decide the plan of action. Yesterday I secured an audience with my wood guru, Brent. Brent seems to have this innate ability to look at anything that's building related and say, well, why don't you just do this? And it always makes such good sense. Now, 3 days ago, I opened the window here that hadn't been opened in about 2 years, and it actually fell out of its hole. It fell out, tumbled down here and smashed. So I'm faced with fixing broken glass and also fixing the frame. It was a little bit beyond my abilities, so talking to Brent about it just gave me a whole new slant on the idea of turning this into a funky servery. What Brent suggested is that I get this broken window and do a simple repair that I can handle myself on this corner. Remove the broken glass, gloves and glasses to start with, and then we'll get a wood chisel and a hammer, just start removing the putty from around the window frame. With the glass out of the way, there's no more chance of getting nasty cuts from that. So now I can get into doing the repairs. What I'm doing here is sandblasting the rotten wood and rusty metal screws out from around where the hinges were, so that I can apply some filler into those recesses and know that it will stay in there. So here is the nastiness that was that rotten part. I've removed as much as I can with the sandblaster, and now I'm going in with a 10mm spade bit to drill 3 10mm holes down into the sound part of the frame. I have to drill these really deep because it's been so rotten that there's no way that short dowels will do the job. I'm going to have to make dowels around 75 to
100 millimeters long. I had to buy a whole length of dowel because gluing dowels only come in certain lengths. So I've made these dowels and I've grooved them along the length for the first half. That's so that the glue can escape and it won't hydraulic into the holes. And the second half of the dowel I've sanded around the dowel. That will help to secure the two halves of the frame together once I've filled it up with this high-tech filler that I'm going to use in this hole. Right, this is new tech, and it's not that new. I've been using it for at least 30 years, but it's great stuff. It's a, how do I explain this? It's a polyester resin with microballoons, so it's semi-waterproof. Most bogs for car fillers use talcum powder as a filler and a polyester resin. This is still a polyester resin, but it uses microballoons so there's nothing to absorb moisture. And the other trick thing about this filler is that it's also got a large percentage of aluminium filings or aluminium dust in it, which is a great anti-corrosive property, and it's full of kitten fur or something very like kitten fur. And that helps it to bridge gaps and gives it immense strength. I've used this for repairing chips in concrete. I've used it for structural repairs on cars. I've used it for structural repairs on timber, on boats. It's incredibly good. It's difficult to work because of the kitty fluff that's in the mixture. But it's very waterproof, incredibly strong, and I've never had it fail. I've never had it drop out, or I've never had it absorb moisture. I highly recommend it. It's a bit pricey. The only drawback I can see with it is that because it's full of the fluff, it doesn't work well, and it's certainly not a finishing filler. You won't get a nice finish with it. But for bridging gaps and filling holes, it's just the duck's nuts. There you go, looking pretty good now, isn't it? You can see the low spots. And you can see the 3 dowels that I put in, all surrounded by this high-tech filler. I'm not going to put another layer of high-tech filler in. I'm now going to use just some finishing fairing compound, which is getting a little bit long in the tooth. I'm right down to the bottom of a can that I bought for fairing a yacht. Now that that job's finished, I've got a little bit left in the bottom here, and it's starting to go off, so it's a good excuse to use it up. This is also waterproof, but it's a finishing compound, so it's only made for filling in surface imperfections. You can see that any of the damage and any of the old hinge points have been filled and sanded back. Everything's nice and smooth. You know, one of the things that my wood guru has taught me is that when you're working with wood, it's a little bit like tending farm animals. You have to look after its well-being, whereas working with steel, I find it's a lot more direct, and you can fix things instantly. With wood, there's a lot of waiting. So at the moment, I'm working on the other window, this pair. This one's got no rot in it, but it has got broken glass like the other one. I've paid particular attention to around the glass and in the corners, because when you're repainting something that somebody else has painted, it's bad manners to not make a proper job in the corners. It really is. So you dig all their muck out, take it back to bare metal, or bare wood in this case, and make sure that you start with a good primer and then a nice top coat, and a 50-year-old window can look as nice as though it was recently made. So I'm prepping both of these windows to paint, but I'm not actually going to paint them yet. That's because Brent's given me the idea of doing something very special with these windows. Well, I've almost finished the special window job, and it's not quite finished because supply issues once again. The glazier hasn't got the glass yet to do the glazing, but I can get it painted and select some hardware for it. But what it is that makes this window so special, I haven't quite let slip yet. So come and have a look. Do you like that? It's very kitcheny, isn't it? To tell you the truth, I don't know what I'm doing with hardware just yet. Obviously I have to put some cabin hooks up there so that I can open it right up and hold it. But I'd like to have some kind of stay that I can do that with, and it might just end up being the jam spoon. The first part of this mission to build myself some nice new cabins to replace Sleeping Gypsy, the house truck that I've lived in for 21 years, was to turn the old garden shed into a combination kitchen and bathroom. So I've done that. I already had this window in here, but I wanted to do something a little bit special with it, so I put the kitchen in this end, and I intended to make it so that I could serve through this window. Problems I had: first of all, when I put the Califont in, I wanted the Califont to be as close as possible to the most often used tap. So that's the kitchen tap. And to have it as close as possible means there's less water wasted before the hot starts coming through. So really it had to be here. I could see that there was just enough space to mount it, so I went ahead and put it there. By the way, in New Zealand you're not allowed to put gas-fired instant hot water heaters inside a building. In some countries you can, here you're not supposed to. So I did the right thing, mounted it on the outside with a rain cover over it, made from an old microwave cabinet. Does the job just fine. And then I discovered, of course, that the window couldn't open flat against the wall as I'd hoped it would. On this side, that was going to be okay because I could put it back against the wall just like I used to.
On the other side, the microwave was only going to let it come past 90 degrees. Now, with people milling around out here in a summer barbecue situation, I don't want anybody walking into the window or putting their arm or whatever, or their head through the glass if it's there. My next score at the dump was this. A really nice doorway or window awning made out of 100% pressed aluminium. Quite retro, I really like it. So I mounted that up here and then discovered, of course, that neither window would open because, of course, the window can't open past the edge of the canopy. So seeing as I had frame repairs to do on the wood and I needed to contact my wood guru, I got him round here and he had a look at it and instantly came up with a solution. I think you'll like it. What we've done, joined the window together in the middle on what they call the mullion and completely reorientated the hinging. Now it can peg up here, be well out of the way, giving me a wide expanse to serve through. And all it's going to cost me is the price of some new glass.